kind of better because we don't have to rush through it, so we don't have to, work on it later. Sometimes we do, but we don't have to. Just work it on one paste, keep everything going. Don't have to stop and think about it for a very long time because it's higher than the level that we can do. We're just on the same level until we get it.
Personalized learning, it means that each person is their own person. Each person is working as they need. It's not, oh, you have to be here because this person here is a little lower than you. It isn't because you have to be here because this person's higher than you. It's where you need to work, it's where you are.
Projects were that we did Invasion of the Body Breakers, where we discussed what invasive species were.
Right now we're talking about root wedging and
Erosion.
and how mountains and the concrete is similar, and yesterday we took a walk outside and we looked around the fourth graders. We looked around outside for cracks and stuff outside to see what was causing them and see if it was root wedging.
We have lots of fun. Try new things. We try new stuff that's kind of for us, it just feels great for everybody.
And we work at our own pace. It's better than last year because we don't have to wait up for people if they're lower than us. We don't have to speed up if someone's in front of us. We work where we are, and you work how you want to.
This year we are controlled of our work. We have to make sure our things get done and not the teachers. The teachers aren't always over and saying, you have to get this done in a certain time. We have to find a way and time to do it. And we all are on different lessons and stuff. We're not all together, and we have to wait for somebody else to get caught up or something. You can just go on your own pace.
My favorite thing is more group projects because you're still working at your own pace, but some people in there might not be at your pace, so you have to help them or they help you. So it's kind of teaching everyone. That makes me really happy because that means everyone's learning, but everyone's having fun because more likely people have fun in groups.
We do a lot of project-based learning here. We kind of see what students are interested in and how we can relate their core content into a project and make it fun for them, make it real life, and kind of teach them how to be a citizen in the world and use their skills outside of the classroom and show them where some of those skills will be used. And it's not just your core content. We're trying to teach them how to be leaders, how to be out-of-the-box thinkers, how to be a better person, kind of just someone who's going to take a leadership role when they leave their education. I teach in a classroom with another teacher. We kind of just bounce off of each other. We both teach a separate ability level in the core classes. I teach a 4th grade ability math class, and she teaches a 5th grade ability math class. But I don't just have 4th graders in my math class. I have 4th and 5th graders in there because that's the ability that they would work on. I see my 5th graders actually feel like they're achieving something instead of just feeling like they're always constantly being behind. And I see some of my 4th graders, pushing themselves farther than what they would do in a regular classroom, and not necessarily just being stuck behind on something, because that's where the rest of the class is. They all get to work at their own pace, which allows some of them to work faster than others, and the ones who maybe need a little more time, need to go a little deeper into their thinking. I have the ability to do that with the students, take time, go a little bit deeper, teach them a little bit more. They all have their different skill sets of what they need, and I can kind of individualize a lesson or different skills for what they would necessarily need for that specific lesson. My challenge would necessarily be that I'm a new teacher, so I'm still kind of figuring out the ropes and the roles of being a teacher, while trying to figure out the ropes and the roles of this model. It's kind of cool because I've got a fresh start. I don't necessarily have a way that I've always been teaching. I don't necessarily have to change my way of thinking or teaching. The rewards of it the biggest reward would have to be students who want to push themselves farther without me having to push them. Kids asking to take extra work home to learn more about what they're working on, and seeing kids achieve, of those kids who wouldn't necessarily achieve at something in a regular classroom because they're working on something that's way too hard. Seeing a smile on their face when they pass a lesson and it's something that they've done all by themselves, not necessarily with help from a teacher. They've taught themselves that skill, and they've been able to assess themselves and show how they know the work that they've done. I think this year I know the students' strengths and weaknesses better because I meet individually with students every single day. And with this model, I get to, see the skills that they struggle with and the skills that they are good at. And I get to kind of, allow them to teach other kids those skills, because they have a way of doing it that I can't even, think of, which is amazing for them to be able to learn through teaching and to be able to learn from others who have that skill. So this model is definitely better with knowing my students, by meeting with them every single day, and by seeing them teach other kids how to do things. I've noticed a big difference. The kids really want to share a lot of things that they're doing outside of the classroom with their peers. They're wanting to show them what they do at home. And I think that's all because of the project-based learning that we do. Kids get more of an opportunity to be in front of others and present their projects that they've been doing. They work a lot more in groups. They have to think outside of the box and solve difficult problems. We're doing a lot of stuff with technology, so students are having to think critically with that, using that technology in a way that they can present their information. And I'm seeing a lot more kids are willing to step up and speak in front of adults, which is big for kids at an elementary level, for them to have that skill. I can't imagine what it's going to be like when they get older in high school and even when they become an adult.
For 21 years, I taught in a regular classroom with some projects embedded into the classroom, but mostly it was just traditional learning that took place during that time. And this last year, I've been in a personalized, individualized classroom. We started off with a clean slate. No one could say, well, we've always done this or we've always done that, because no one had ever done this before. And so we've had a lot of rocks along the way. We've had to stop and back up and revamp and move forward, and we think that we are finally getting a good handle on the personalized learning, especially in math and reading. We have assessed and reassessed and then gone back and individually instructed students, and I feel like that I know my students, all 49 of them, better than I ever knew a classroom of 20. We are a family, which I think enables their learning. It's a very comfortable environment for them. We have seen great growth in the students from the beginning of the year until now, and I think that's in part to we met them where they were. We always say that we're going to meet our kids where we are and take them from there, but until you personalize their learning, until you make it individual for them, you can't really do that if you're teaching to the masses. And I feel like that we are teaching to the individual student. In my math class right now, I have about 25 students, and I can say that only 2 or 3 are working on the same lesson. So it's very time consuming to plan for. Sometimes it gets a little crazy, and we have a lot of mini lessons that take place. We have a lot of individual lessons that take place. I think one of the things that I enjoy the most is seeing the kids helping each other. They will look on the board to see who has covered certain lessons, and they will go and ask that person to teach them. And I've always told them, if you can teach it, then I know that you understand it. And they have even gotten to where they will choose a peer to assist them rather than the teacher. So I think that shows a lot of growth in themselves, just even in what we call the soft skills and the 21st century skills. I don't believe in the past that in my classroom, while I thought I was doing that I was encouraging them to learn from each other and that I was meeting their needs. I see now that I really was not doing that, and I don't ever want to go back. I feel like I'm finally meeting the individual needs of my students. One of the things that has been great are that our older students have taken the younger students under their wing, and they've included them in their projects. And now I have seen, even outside the classroom, I have seen our younger students volunteering to speak in front of large crowds. They look professional. They sound professional. They are able to work in groups. They even will redirect and correct others if they're not staying on task, and they do it in a way that is very respectful. But it's just neat to walk up behind them and hear them talking about math or reading or social studies or something that's going on or how to solve a problem, and they don't need me to direct that. So that's a 21st century skill that they're going to have whenever they go into the workforce.